Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a comic book review on Absolute Wonder Woman #3. So I highly recommend you guys go and check out our previous comic book reviews on Absolute Wonder Woman issues 1 through 2. That way you can understand and figure out how we kind of looked at those issues compared to this one. And I kind of always say that because, you know, a lot of people will ask, like, how do you feel about the previous issues compared to the most recent one? So, you know, just do this always when it comes to like the reviews in general, is that like, if we're going through like a Batman ongoing series or a Superman ongoing series, go and check out the previous comic book reviews we did on the previous issues. That way you can understand kind of how we feel about the arc building up. So specifically regarding with this one, you know, Absolute Wonder Woman issue #1 was very, very good. Absolute Wonder Woman issue #2 set up, which led into this one. We are now currently at, what was it? Absolute Wonder Woman, The Last Amazon, Part 3. That's kind of where we're at right now. Yes, Part 3 of 5. Man, these double page spreads looking pretty good. White text, black font. No, I'm joking, guys. Imagine phrasing white text in black font in 2025. But I'll ask you, how are you feeling about this run currently so far now that we're on issue 3?
I'm liking it, but it is, remember with issue 4 of Batman Absolute, where it was like the whole issue was showing Bruce in different eras and how it all played together, becoming who he was. I feel like that's what this entire 5-issue arc is. It's essentially like you're this one event on this coastal city, and then you're just going through and you're seeing how she got to here and how she became who she is. Because this one was kind of, I felt like another setup one like the last one, except you get to find out more about how Steve Trevor came back, and then you're also delving more into you know, her and her arm thing was wild, you know. So yeah, it's I'm still liking it. It's just it's not building as fast as Batman is. Batman in its first 6 was like a roller coaster, you know, really all sorts of stuff going on. This one is a little bit more straight to the line.
Yeah, I feel like this one is a mixture of a balance between a slice of life book and an action book, right?
Yeah.
So you get your, I would say, romance chemistry with Steve Trevor and Diana, and then you get the action part of it, and then it does a good job at least balancing out like the flashbacks and stuff like that. Now, my big issue here with just the book itself, as we've gotten to this part, is her arm not being there. So for those of you guys who don't know, in this book, we figure out how Steve Trevor got back to essentially, well, Earth. You would say like our realm, right? If you believe in a heaven or hell. I'm not religious, but I don't care, honestly. So Steve Trevor ended up coming back because Diana did a spell that put him back, actually. And that required her basically cutting off her arm and offering it as a sacrifice to send Steve Trevor back. Now, keep in mind, now imagine you go out with a girl and she has a, what do you call it? When you amputate, there's that, prosthetic.
Amputee, a prosthetic, yeah.
Yeah. So imagine you go out with a girl and like you riz her up and she's into you, and you go back to her place and, you know, pants come off and she wants to obviously start, you know, jerking you off. Imagine if she just had a mechanical arm. Like, imagine if she just had a. That's going to be probably one of the worst hand jobs you've ever received, honestly.
Depends if it has a jack-off mode.
Oh, I'm just saying that was just very odd that the only way to get him back was to basically have her cut off her arm and use that as a sacrifice. You couldn't just like sacrifice one of her eyes, you know? You couldn't have her sacrifice anything else. It had to be one of her arms. She's an Amazon warrior. She needs to battle people. She's going to battle someone with the prosthetic? You know,
Well,
like
I
that's
mean,
gonna be
it's
pretty
magic,
good.
so it's essentially she's like she's not even missing it. So even the prosthetic she has is a magic prosthetic until she. Well, I don't want to spoil future reviews, but she doesn't stay with the prosthetic for very long, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like I would imagine she's gonna put her arm back because she said it's binded with magic. Like, please, because like that doesn't make any sense, guys, for an Amazon warrior to be fighting with a prosthetic. That's retarded.
At
You
least
know?
make the prosthetic look all badass. Like the
Yeah.
prosthetic looked like something from a science fair. It was very crude. But yeah, I mean, I like Diana though in this. I like the story.
Yeah.
I want to see where this goes. It just doesn't move. It's not moving very fast, and I don't quite know. Like we know in Batman, like the Joker's right around the corner.
Yeah.
We know that there's more stuff coming down the line. There's no of those overlooming threats in this book, and
Yeah.
it's more like just her mission to save this city from this Cthulhu monster, and so yeah, it's I still like it. The artwork's beautiful. It's just it's
The
moving a
artwork
little
is very good.
slow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how well this is going to do when it goes into its second arc.
Yeah, this is the book that I feel like, we haven't covered Absolute Superman here, so I don't know how that one's going right now currently, but we will be doing that at one point, guys.
Yeah.
Absolute Batman feels like it was pacing itself very, very well. Like each book kind of felt like you were progressing to something, you were getting to a point. Even when you had like issue 4, which is a standalone issue, you had a progression on Bruce's mindset with like how he had a relationship with his dad and everything. This one, I'll say it's not bad. Like, I'm not gonna look back on this series when we're talking about it at the end of the year, going like, man, did we hate the first arc of Absolute Wonder Woman? No, it's probably fine for the most part. It's just like, can this pace be a little faster? Because it feels like it's a book where issue 1 was really, really good. Out of the knockout, complete home run. Issue 2 is more like the slice of life stuff where, okay, we have this big villain at the end of the book, but we had a smaller, bigger villain, and it kind of feels like, okay, is there going to be an even bigger villain than this Tetracide kind of villain? Because they have that thing in their in the middle of their ocean where it could just spit out various giant monsters. It's like, do people know that's going to get old very quickly? Like they're going to have to change that up. I don't know if the second, third arcs are going to be that way, but this is a book, I would say, that I think is going to hit a ceiling and then massively drop off. That's what I feel. I don't know about Absolute Batman. I feel like that one's paced very well. I think they have a good idea about where they want to kind of take it. This one, I have no clue, honestly. Like, am I enjoying my ride? Yeah, I'm not hating it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, it feels like we're just kind of going through a lot of the same motions. Like, she sees a big monster, then she goes and talks to the army, and goes out, comes back to the army, tells them some more things, leaves them. See, Trevor talks to her. She goes out, fights, comes back, talks to the army, goes out. It just feels like it's very just repeating the same kind of steps over and over again. And I understand that. I don't feel like Kelly Thompson, she fucking blocked me on Twitter. That fucking stupid, ugly ass bitch. It doesn't feel like she's really taking any risk here with the book at all. It feels like it's very paint by the numbers. But it's not like bad.
Wonder Woman goes out to fight the Cthulhu monster, and then she loses her arm. She comes back, puts on a prosthetic, and does a bunch of talking and dialogue, and the monster's barely moved from the point when she left.
And she built this monster up as it's supposed to be really, really dangerous.
Yeah. Now, the monster does feed off of fear, and she did establish that it sends out a sound wave that will draw people to it. It's like the death of fear, so it makes people no longer afraid. But at the same time, though, it's kind of like Wonder Woman took care of it really easy by making the whole city deaf, and then I don't know. It's not moving very fast. It's one of those things where it's like, I wish it was a little bit more felt like more of a threat, And what's also weird too is it doesn't feel like the same world as Absolute Batman. Like they don't the books, all 3 books so far, and even I've just perused through Flash really
Yeah.
quick. They all feel like separate universes. It does. They don't. There doesn't really feel like there's a connection, and I think that has a lot to do
Well,
with just the
Diana
visual.
mentioned other heroes. Remember in issue 2, I think she was talking about
Yeah.
other heroes. So, and I like you said there too. I was thinking about that too. Even when I was reading Absolute Batman, when we finished issue 5, when I reviewed it with Last Comic Fan, these don't feel like they're very interconnected. They all just feel like, okay, this is just the Absolute universe, and it's all just very standalone. You know?
Yeah, it's like the entire United States of America would be talking about it if a 100-story tall Cthulhu monster was outside of San Francisco, and a one-armed Amazon was fighting it on a skeleton horse. People are going to talk about it. So I know, like, aesthetically, it's not all going to look the same because they're allowing some real artistic looks for these books. Because, like, the Martian Manhunter looks like a completely different world. That looks like a Picasso painting more than it does any of the other worlds. So it'll be interesting to see, because they're advertising bringing all of this together, bringing mainline and bringing absolute universes together. There was a big poster for it at the comic book shop when I went to pick up my pull list. And it'll be interesting to see how they collide these together. Is it going to collide together and create a new universe? They're just going to grab what they like out of each one. I don't worry about Absolute Batman, but Absolute Wonder Woman, I'm kind of like, I'll stick around for the next arc. But if it doesn't start picking up, if I don't see like a main villain, a mission, something going on, then I'm going to probably just kind of tap out. I really love the weapons, though, and the artwork. So I might stick around longer than I probably would normally, because if it's good artwork, I'll stick around for a while. But it does feel like I wish it had a little bit more purpose to it, you know?
Yeah, because that's why I said it just feels very paint by the numbers. They're just doing things that just go through the motions. I hope in issues 4 and 5, when we cover them, you know, it feels like, okay, we finally got to a conclusion, and these other parts we're going to look back on and go, okay, this was just a lot of setup, but it really had a lot of purpose. Because before we get into the book, guys, on Twitter, because we were talking about this in this review, so it's very important to the review itself, they announced that Absolute Wonder Woman's next arc is going to be the Lady of the Tiger.
Okay.
Or sorry, Absolute Wonder Woman, the Lady or the Tiger. Yeah, I think I said that right. Or maybe I just had too much sex with my wife. Joking, guys, joking. It's going to be only 2 parts, right? Because I think that's where this book would do better at, in 2-part storytelling.
Yeah.
Because I think like longer form storytelling of it needs to either be one less issue or just needs to be 2 parts. Like on Absolute Wonder Woman number 6 might be coming up, because it's like, you know, this is one of those books where I feel like it starts off very strong, but then they're going to run out of ideas very, very quickly about where to take the character. Because that's the problem with Wonder Woman, usually as a character, where, like, you know, I'm admitting this, guys, I haven't read too many runs from her. I have only skimmed through a lot of stuff by her throughout her comic book life, right? But she is typically not as interesting as Flash, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Shazam, Aquaman, Green Arrow, a lot of those guys, you know, like she's very popular, and I'll always give her due. She's a popular character, but popularity doesn't mean people care about her comic runs. No one really ever mentions, beside like George Perez's run on Wonder Woman, any runs they really like out of her, you know?
Yeah.
It feels like it's just affinity for the character just because she exists, rather than actual like books being good. Or I don't think we've even read that shit.
Yeah, the Absolute version makes her feel more like the Warden of Hell. Like she's there. Her purpose is she's definitely a warrior. And her purpose is to keep these things in check. I just wish it was a little bit more, like, even if the Cthulhu monster would talk and she had some kind of history with it, like, that helped define the story a little bit more, or her background, or some other character, like some kind of I don't know, mage type, you know, demon lord kind of character that kind of intersects with her past, so that we could have some more threat. Right now it's just her stopping this kind of invasion on the city that we really don't know why it's happening, and there's no explanation of, you know, what's going on, or along those lines, which is fine for 1 or 2 issues, but it's good to like point us somewhere, not go all 5 just kind of setting this up, because you got to be careful. She could be setting up for something awesome, but you got to be careful that you don't lose your fan base trying to get there and taking too long to get there. Now, there has been a lot of good action and stuff like along those lines, but at the same time, I'm just like, it's you're fighting this Cthulhu monster, and you're lucky that this thing is really freaking slow. So then that way you can go and talk with Trevor and talk with the army guys and tell generals to fuck off, and then put your robot arm on and then go out and fight some more. Like you really, I hope there's more to it where we'll get to see more of like, is there a villain? Is it tied in with the other characters? Is she going to be, like, how is this all going to work out in the long run?
Yeah, because on Batman, given how his universe is always kind of structured out with random people, there's so much there you can tackle, even if you're doing a retelling, right? To the point where you have so much to play with. When it comes to this book, I feel like, I don't know, I just have a weird feeling it's just going to lose steam. Like, it feels like it would be if the next arc is only going to be 2 parts, Like,
even if you made it just like, if we were in the right editor's room with this, it's like, okay, well, why are the demons attacking? Well, let's do we make it Ares? What is Zeus's the head of hell? I forgot his name, but there is a Greek god that is the god.
Hades usually for
Hades.
Her, right?
Yeah. Like, Hades should be, even if he's not directly talking with Wonder Woman, part of the story, some kind of villain, it should be there, and we know what's going on, especially when you're talking about 5 issues. We should know by the 3rd or 4th issue who the bad guy is. Batman, it was a Black Mask for this first arc, leading up to a battle with Black Mask, so we had a very fulfilling arc, and then you also get to learn about the new Batman, and everything's cool. With this one, it's like she's fighting nameless Cthulhu monster, and the Cthulhu monster doesn't talk, and eventually she just has to get a big enough gun to kill it, so it's like, I don't really.
Yeah, we moved from the Harbinger so quickly to get to this Tetracide monster, and it's like, because the thing is, she says she's not strong enough to beat it, but just willing, because that's just who she is. She just always will go and fight it, which is very like, if this thing is as strong as she says it is, then she should be kind of just KO'd instantly. You would think by how she herself has built it up. All right, so let's go through it. So it starts off with this reporter lady right here, kind of just in awe of what's happening. So picking up where we left off in the last issue with issue number 2, the Tetracide has appeared, and then Diana flies back to the army guys that she was talking to in the last issue with Steve Trevor. So here's essentially what she said it can do. So gonna have to probably go through a lot of these so you guys can get an understanding of how strong this big monster actually is. Because the reason why we mentioned all that before in the review is to say of how strong this thing really is. We have to probably just point out all these things she said about it. So essentially, the Tetracide is a being where, she said, because what the Tetracide means by death of fear is that you are no longer capable of feeling fear when you see it, and you are instead drawn to it. So essentially, it unleashes this sound where you're essentially drawn to it, and more people are going to be basically kind of killing each other, beating each other up, assaulting each other to get inside of this beast that they probably think is like some heaven or whatever. Like it works in a way where I've seen this happen in a lot of movies and TV shows where you have like this being where that'll emit this sound and then people will come to it like they're just hypnotized or whatever. So it's basically just full-blown hypnosis going on essentially. And then she says, very soon the Tetracide will begin to emanate a sound. It will be loud and sharp. It will travel for miles. And when people hear that sound, they will be drawn to it like bees to honey. They will do anything to be with the sound. They will walk right into the Tetracide's jaws, where one dies in agony, a death of mind, body, and soul. And the death of the soul, I don't want to be dramatic, but the people who are cursed to death in the race to the Tetracide's maw will be the lucky ones. So yeah, pretty powerful villain right there. And then, she even says her Pegasus can't really follow her because just it's already from hell. So it would be so easy to attract it to just obviously kill it, obviously. So she tries fighting it right here. She throws the sword at it, hitting it in one of its hitting it in the head. Then she tries tying it with the lasso of truth right there. Then after that, she tries tying it more. One of the tentacles from the tetracide throws the sword in the water, which is very weird because I thought she was going to go back and grab her sword because why not have it? You know, I thought she was just going to go get her sword again. But, you know, she grabs an axe, actually, and she starts slicing through tentacles again right there. Then you get your double page spread. After that, flashback goes into her and Steve Trevor, where, you know, they're talking about like his time on Earth, and, you know, she wants to obviously get him back. That's the most part of their flashback, honestly. And this book, which leads into this part, which is Diana found out a way to get Steve Trevor back, but it involves her basically kind of like, you know, losing her arm for that. Her mother doesn't really approve of it, but later on goes with it. And then later on, she sends Steve Trevor back to Earth with that dark magic spell. That was, man, Kelly Thompson must be into some weird shit. She's talking about dark magic here and spells and everything. Hey, yo. So then we go back to Gateway City where, you know, she's getting obviously entangled in the tetracide. So how did you feel about this part right here?
Oh, the arm part that we're talking about? I thought that was weird. It's interesting. It really does tie these two characters together more than in the past, because now, you know, she essentially sacrificed her warrior's arm for his return. And he realizes that when he sees her without the arm, and it shows her pulling out the prosthetic out of her magic bag and hold everything. And so, yeah, it creates a real good dynamic between them. It was kind of weird and startling. I'm glad I read 5 and 6 or 4 and 5, so I know what happens, because I was not happy with the design of the prosthetic, but it's more of a holding place than anything else.
Yeah.
And,
so after that, we ended up at a part where, you know, her arm's off again. She has a prosthetic, and the arm that she had was just basically just tied up in magic, honestly, you know? So yeah. Steve Trevor talks to her, and basically he wants to go with her. She doesn't really want him to. She goes out again. She finds that reporter lady. The reporter lady has I guess she's studying like Amazons, and she coins the term Wonder Woman right there. So, you know, later on, she'll be obviously called Wonder Woman, you know? So what'd you feel about that?
I thought that was pretty cool. Like the whole, it was interesting because she definitely seems like she's taken with Wonder Woman, and it's almost like a Lois Lane, Clark, or Superman kind of relationship. I almost feel to it. I don't know if they meant that or not, but it's interesting. Diana's looking, you know, she does look badass in it, and the art's good. It's just like at the same time, it's just like, wow, there's a lot of like this monster's still not to the shore yet. Is he just chilling out in the water, just sort of standing there?
Yeah, I don't know. Like the tetracide, apparently, even given how strong it is, it doesn't move. But I guess that's the reason why it emits that sound. So it's supposed to just draw people to it. It's not, I guess, supposed to just move. Yeah. I guess that's how I thought of it. So after that, you know, she introduces herself as Barbara, and then, you know, after saying Wonder Woman to her, she doesn't really pay any attention to it. She introduces herself as Diana to that girl. And then, was that all that girl was for? Just a plot device to just say, hey, you're Wonder Woman. Okay. I guess.
She might play more into it in the future. I don't know. It's one of those things where this feels like a real long-term setup. Like they're setting up a long-term story. Mm-hmm. It is interesting to find out that the next arc is only 2 pages or issues long. So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
After that, Wonder Woman pulls out this orb from her, some would say, what's that thing called, a fanny pack we used to have back in the day?
Yeah, it's like your fanny pack of never-ending.
No one could ever make fanny packs good. No one could ever make those cool. But she pulls out this magical orb from her fanny pack, and then she gets the attention of the news reporter, and then basically is drawing up this spell to the point where she is going to make everyone deaf, actually, so they don't hear the sound of the tetracide, which is a pretty cool idea. Like if everyone's deaf, they can't hear it, then they obviously won't be getting entranced by his hypnosis, you know? And then later on in the book, she coins herself at, you know, Wonder Woman believes in you. She believes in the goodness of the people to obviously not, so she believes that the people that will be entranced under her spell to be deaf, to not be, you know, hypnotized by the tetracide. She believes that they're not going to be able to, she believes that they'll be able to basically kind of, you know,
help each other out and
be
peaceful. And yeah, it was a great Wonder Woman kind of deal. Her compassion really shows through with this writer, and I like that part of it. It was kind of this, like, it's almost a callback to the second movie where she's like talking to everyone and be it's kind of a callback to that. But it's interesting though. It's like I'm just going to make you guys all deaf, and then I'm going to go kick this Cthulhu monster's ass out here in the port.
Yeah, because essentially if everyone's kind of like in sync and they understand what's going on because she's broadcasting it to everyone, then they'll understand. But she believes that even if you're deaf, you're going to be able to be a good person. That's crazy because we know the average person's not doing that, but that's just the fucking
they'd be robbing shit
of
within 5 minutes of her doing it. They're probably already robbing shit right now. So there's a giant Cthulhu monster out in the port. You grab the sneakers, grab the fucking TVs, grab whatever you can. But so
after that pretty much ends it, because she pretty much puts that giant spell on everyone, and she's counting on everyone to not go crazy with everyone being deaf, and then that's when the book kind of just ends right there. So yeah, overall, you know, not a bad issue. I would say it's fine. It was okay. I hope that issues 4 and 5 are stronger and a lot more better at, you know, finishing off this first arc for her. But I'll ask you, what are your closing thoughts on Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 3?
It's still a decent comic book. I wish it was a little bit faster or had a little bit more meat to it when it came to like what's going on. I do like the way they're handling Diana, and I like the way that they're kind of making more of a dynamic for Steve Trevor and her relationship. And it's so far it's still a good book. I still like it.
You still have any hopes it could get stronger and have a better closeout the last 2 issues? I don't know. I hope.
This Diana can. I just don't know if the writer is going to be able to do it. I don't know, you know, because it feels like they're playing a long game. There's like a lot of threads are going to be left unanswered at the end of this arc. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I hope you guys have a lot more planned, because there's a lot of shit going on here that we don't quite know what's going, you know, if it's going to finish that. How important is this Barbara character? Steve Trevor, you know, he's seems much more connected to her this time. So how is that going to play out? The military, you know, the military, you know, she's very inspirational in it. Like there's even one point where she's like, you know, in the future books, she's essentially in charge of the military around there at that point, and everyone's like listening to her, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Like the arc number 2 will be very important.
Yeah. So for me, my closing thoughts and opinions are like we are basically at a point of Wonder Woman in the Absolute Universe, for at least this version of her, being in a slice of life romance action book. That's kind of what we're at right now. I hope the last 2 issues are bangers, like the first issue, where we can finish off this first arc on a high note. I just don't know if this book has really any staying power, because we know moving forward, based off what was leaked, the next arc is only going to be 2 issues, you know? So like, I hope that's not going to be the thing for all the Absolute books, where they're going to have really like high highs and then the ceiling is just there. And then it's going to just teeter off when they basically just kind of blow out all their good ideas, honestly, because there's only just so much you can do, even in an alternate universe. There's only so much stuff you can really cover, and only so much story that you can really have there, to the point where it's like, okay, what are we even doing here anymore? You know, because that's what happened with the original Marvel Comics Ultimate Universe. It just started going off the rails so hard on everything. No one even knew what the fuck it was doing anymore, you know?
Yeah. the Ultimates, I remember the first one, it was good for about 20 or 30 issues, and then it really started petering off, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Bendis held up Ultimate Spider-Man, I thought, for a lot longer. Like, he did really good with that one. But the rest of the Ultimate books were not, they didn't go great forever. I mean, they started off
the best
good.
one was Mark Miller's The Ultimates, and X-Men was okay for the Ultimate Universe.
Good art. It was okay. Wolverine essentially killing Scott was pretty crazy.
Like Wolverine trying to have a relationship with a 16-year-old Jean Grey. These people are weird in Marvel. Holy shit.
Oh, I know. They love that shit.
Oh, God, because they're fucking weirdos. But yeah, overall, I hope Absolute Wonder Woman last 2 issues before we review them, hopefully they end up with a banger, because I don't know, guys. Starting to see some red flags here. I don't hate the issue, but it's like, okay, we kind of pick up the pace here, a little bit. Slice of life is cool and all, but pace it better, So thank you guys for checking out this video. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, and we're going to sign out, guys. See you guys later. Deuces. Peace.